Today, my special guest is Kirsten. Forgot your last Campbell. I need to start studying full names of my guests. Kirsten Campbell. We met through an investor partner of mine. She works with marketing for some of his companies, and I liked a few things that I saw about what her content, which was a little bit revolving around how consumers are irrational. So I wanted to understand more and more about that. So I figured, why not have her on my show, getting a phone call, and explain what she means about the consumer, and then also ask her some marketing questions that I believe any entrepreneur should know. So nice to meet you, Kirsten, virtually, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Hour. So I like to start out by asking the guest, what is your origin story, your superhero? How'd you start out, and how'd you get to where you are now?
I really wish I had a better story for you, but I went to university and studied marketing. And so I did a double major in marketing and HR. I've never worked in HR, although it's actually been pretty helpful. So I got a marketing degree and then went to go work in marketing. But of course, that was right after the 2008 recession. So trying to find a job in marketing when marketing is the cost center. So marketing always got the first layoff.
First, yeah.
So that was an experience to itself.
Yeah, pretty much. I know from many years of, this is my third recession. Marketing gets hit first, but it also comes back first.
Exactly. Well, it only takes them a while to realize, oh, hey, wait, no one's talking to our consumers and our profits are going down. So
money. How do we get money?
Yeah, we tend to forget about that
one. Yeah. So, okay. So you went to school for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Then what? You started.
Then I started basically just sort of taking whatever contract that was offered because that's all there was. So I ended up getting into tech. So I did tech marketing for 10 years, which was really interesting. And then after that, I ended up just deciding that the usual, insert stereotype here of marketing and tech, and just decided that it wasn't worth it anymore and decided to go off on my own and have never looked back since.
So you became an entrepreneur, huh? So you saw the freedom and benefits of entrepreneurship and went for it, and you never went back.
Yeah, especially after working in the sort of lumbering bear of an organization of big tech companies and even the smaller tech startups, they weren't as nimble and they weren't able to respond to their consumers. And there was always another agenda that wasn't just giving the best product and giving the best services. So it just seemed like there was a disconnect there, and it just seemed like the best time to just go off and be like, you know what, might as well try this.
No, yeah. I mean, I think every person should at least try it. Try the thing you enjoy. See if you can make a living out of it. I think, because if you do, it's a great win-win situation. So, okay. So now you're working with what type of companies? What type of companies do you work with now? Do you still work with tech companies?
I still work with tech companies. Now it's a bit of everything. There's architects, lawyers, tech, finance, dog trainers. I work with other marketers. So it's kind of anything that's sort of interesting and people that want to talk to their consumers and not just throw money at buying ads. Those tend to be the people that I want to work with and that want to work with me.
So that brings me to an interesting question that when I was speaking to my young people at Meta Bronx, I always was telling them there's a difference between marketing and advertising. Can you explain the difference? What's marketing versus advertising?
Marketing is the stories and the promises that a brand makes and how it delivers on that promise. Whereas advertising is part of marketing, no doubt, but advertising is the more specific, like, okay, what's the exact message? What's the copy for this ad? Marketing is what makes you sleep on the sidewalk to buy an iPhone. And it's what makes you walk 2 blocks further to go to Starbucks instead of Dunkin's. Yeah. Advertising is the vehicle for that.
Sure. It's like the way I was explaining it is marketing is telling your brand story to connect them to your brand. And then advertising is where you try to make the close, where you start to draw them towards getting some type of sale. That's how I was explaining it. But yeah, so it makes sense. Marketing, I always worked on the advertising side of things. When I started, I was building ads, right? So I saw the end product and how we got it to consumer. As I started creating my own companies, I learned about marketing more and more, and it's super important. And most entrepreneurs don't even think about it, right? Like, yeah, like any advice if you are an entrepreneur thinking about marketing, where would you start?
Definitely start with researching the hell out of whatever it is that you're talking about. I definitely find that people just don't even do a basic Google search for what they're looking at. And then they're surprised when, a competitor's had a product out for 3 years and they had no idea and things like that.
Yeah, your competition, researching your competition is huge. So what is if you had to say what marketing is in a succinct way, just so people know, okay, this is what marketing is, what would you say that is?
Marketing is selling feelings. It's selling stories and magic. And because people don't buy products and services, they buy products that confirm the stories that they want to believe about themselves.
100%. And had a video I guess last week where I kind of was going into a little bit of that. But yes, I agree. Okay, so but what is marketing really selling? What do you think?
Well, it's selling magic. It's Apple promises you that you're going to be more creative with their computers, as I'm sitting here on a MacBook right now. Starbucks promises you that you're going to be a coffee aficionado, BMW promises the ultimate driving experience,
Sure,
and
sure.
that's ultimately what they're selling you.
That makes sense. So what does marketing do then? Like if you say, okay, it's selling you on this thing, but how does it sell you on this thing?
Marketing adds value by changing consumer perceptions. And a great example of that is cars. And so there's two ways you can add value to a car. You can put leather seats in it, or you can put cloth seats in and convince your consumers they're cooler.
Sure, through marketing, right? So that's telling stories that make them connect to your brand in a way that says, no, I rather have this car with the cloth seats than the leather because I believe their story connects more with me.
It supports the stories that you tell yourself. And I mean, I'm guilty as charged, by the way. Like, I always swore that I would never not have leather seats again. Here I am driving cloth seats because they've got right. And I'm still here. I am talking about it 3 years later. I'm talking about it, and I'm still sitting here justifying it to myself as a consumer. So it's a very powerful tactic.
For sure. I think most people are buying based on marketing. They don't even realize it at all.
Yeah.
I was talking about people wanted to create, especially in Metabrox, a lot of young people want to create their own clothing lines, right? Mm-hmm. So I was talking about how this shirt is a plain black shirt. You buy it for $10, maybe $20 the most. But as soon as I put a Polo logo or something like that, it goes to $40, $50, and people are willing to pay it, right? They're paying for that story, pretty much, that marketing. What it tells everybody else about what I believe it tells everybody else about me, right? So that's kind of where most businesses are not really thinking about that. They're thinking about the service and how to deliver it, but not how to create a marketing strategy around their company that makes people want to only work with them. Like you said, Apple costs a lot more than a regular PC. Just like you, I'm on an Apple and I only use Apple, right? So they've sold me early, creatives use Apple. If you're not, and then every creative in the industry, well, most, they believe that. So if you are creative and you walk in with a different type of computer, people look at you a little weird sometimes. And that's based off the marketing for many years that Apple has done very well. So, okay. So how do marketers market? Give me examples of marketing.
Well, marketers market by they frame choices, they add context, and they present information. And the way that information is presented to us really, really affects what we choose. And we see this a lot in restaurants, for example. So restaurants typically, back in before times when we were allowed to go to restaurants, if you remember opening up the menu back in the day, where were we ever that young? I don't even know. So restaurants put the most expensive dish at the top. They don't actually think that they're going to sell that many of them. They put it there make everything else cheaper by comparison.
Ah,
So that's how they.
right. It's even better. It's a win-win. So you're saying they kind of it's. I've heard that as like an anchor. They set an anchor, so everything else looks much better, right?
Because price anchors are so powerful for consumers because for whatever reason, the first price sticks in our mind. If you remember when Steve Jobs introduced the iPad, there was 999 up on the screen. And so that was established as the price anchor. So then when the price came crashing down, I think it was like $4.99 or $5.99, there was an audible gasp in the auditorium because people were, oh my God, it's on sale.
So that's actually interesting. I don't remember that, but it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Like, whoa, this is a deal, right? So he just created that in a presentation of less than an hour. He made you feel like there was a deal, but he's also for many years marketed to you in a way that you understand what he does. You understand the story of Apple, right? So, and the story of Apple is we innovate hardware and software, right? So here's an innovation, a hardware innovation for you, and it's only $1,000. Wait, no, it's not. It's 500, right? So amazing. Yeah, Apple does it probably one of the best companies to market, right? Would you say what would you say are some of your best examples of marketing companies that market well?
Ooh, there's a few of them that really understand their consumers. Apple definitely. Starbucks used to, now they don't really so much anymore. I think a lot of the like Dove understands their consumers very well. There's folks who we're now suddenly seeing how poorly they understand their consumers. Like folks like Nike, for years they've been selling, Pride and things like that. But then there's other companies that obviously now we're seeing that they're just not really getting it. Example, Pepsi, like we know that they just don't really get it. But then there's been also newer companies that have come out that have really been showcasing what they can do. And it's been through empathy. They seem to understand their target audience better.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So they're connecting with their community better, right? So that's another thing I was talking about. You have to have a story, but then you have to have a community that connects to that story. But if you have a story that's not connecting, so that's basically what you're saying. When brands are not connecting to their community the right way, they're creating this dysfunction that is hard to come back from. But Pepsi and companies like that are so large that they'll figure it out. They have enough billions to mess up every now and then.